So I'm happy to introduce you to Kyle Larson and Rebecca Coates-Maldoon, as they will be providing a high-level overview of the department's sustainability initiatives and an update on the countywide trails plan. Just a little bit about Kyle and Rebecca. Kyle is a senior management analyst and joined the Parks Department 6 months ago as a direct report to Director Don Rocha, where he is responsible for implementing sustainability goals for the department, among many other department-wide projects. And Rebecca is the countywide trails program manager, and Rebecca manages the County Parks Department's countywide trails program, tasked with implementing the Santa Clara County's Countywide Trails Master Plan, which envisions a comprehensive network of over 800 miles of regional, sub-regional, and connector trails throughout Santa Clara County. Throughout the presentation, I encourage you to put any questions in the chat as they come up. And without further ado, Kyle and Rebecca, I'll turn it to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Tanya. Appreciate the opportunity this morning to share some information regarding the Parks Department. And before Rebecca talks about the benefits of trails for sustainability and the department's new countywide trails program, I'd like to provide the group with a brief overview of the department and identify some of the items that we track and report out under the Sustainability Master Plan, and provide a quick info share regarding some updates to that work. To give a quick overview of the department, the mission of the department is to provide, protect, and preserve regional parklands for the enjoyment, education, and inspiration of this and future generations. And since the first county parkland was acquired nearly a century ago in 1924, the system has grown into to include 28 regional parks encompassing over 52,000 acres of parkland. Department facilities include over 340 miles of trails, 12 campgrounds, over 300 individual campsites, including sites for RVs, groups, and sites that are compliant with the American Disabilities Act. There's 13 reservoirs with 5 boat launches in the system. Please don't ask me to name them all. 4 major interpretive facilities, 3 off-leash dog facilities, 2 public golf courses, and a range of other special facilities, including fly casting ponds, hang gliding facilities, an off-road motorcycle park, disc golf course, etc. So with that overview out of the way, I'd like to provide a few updates on some of the park items that were recently highlighted in the annual sustainability report by Tanya and Jasneet. Under SMP goal number 1, carbon neutrality, I'd like to report that going forward, all new powered landscape equipment in county parks will be electric, unless gas is the only available option. And this means that all blowers, line trimmers, and chainsaws up to 18 inches will be electric moving forward. And as gas equipment wears out, the department will be replacing them with electric equipment. Mike will inform me that the department recently purchased a mid-size sit-on zero radius electric mower, which I must admit, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but it sounds like it might be a lot of fun to ride and good for the environment. I also understand from Mike that Parks continues to work with FAF and sustainability on a community resilience grant for a mobile EV charging station. And this will support Parks operations, and the purchase of an EV truck would be funded by Parks as part of the project. And I really do appreciate Mike and Rich Ramos's work and continued collaboration with FAF and David Worthington on that item, as it'll serve as a pilot for the department to demonstrate the potential for electric vehicle charging in remote park locations. Under SMP goal number 2, county parks, so this is resilient and prepared county. County Parks continues to work on implementing a grant from CAL FIRE to remove fire-prone eucalyptus in Mount Madonna and reducing fuel loading along Pole Line Road to improve community safety in escape routes. Separately, in coordination with MidPen and other local agencies, County Parks was awarded a $7.5 million in grant funding from CAL FIRE to improve forest health conditions on 400 acres of parkland, including at Sanborn County Park. Earlier this year, park ranger staff organized a series of prescribed burns of brush piles at park locations, including at Claro, Santa Teresa, and Ed Levin County Parks. And as part of the department's fuel load, this is part of the department's fuel load reduction efforts. CAL FIRE engines and parks equipment are on site during these burn operations, and patrols are conducted by park staff to ensure the piles are fully extinguished. I had an opportunity to visit Claro actually earlier this year during one of the prescribed burns and hear from ranger staff about the importance of these projects in reducing the fuel load and risk of intense fire activity in county parklands. And would certainly encourage anybody in this group, if you're interested, once we have rain again in the forecast, reach out to me and I'm happy to connect you to one of those events. Under S&P goal number 3, air and water resources, we highlighted the work of our department's volunteer program, which organized separate events last year for National River Cleanup Day and California Coastal Cleanup Day. In the middle of a pandemic, nonetheless, over 175 individuals volunteered for each event, and a combined 7,000 pounds in trash were collected at these events across 6 different park locations. And finally, under S&P goal number 4, natural land stewardship, I'd like to highlight a very recent effort by the department in collaboration with the Office of Sustainability. And this is to increase urban tree canopy in developed areas of county parks. And this is in line with the county's effort to mitigate climate change impacts. So an opportunity was brought to our attention last week, actually, by Director of the department, Jasneet, for the county to receive trees that had been donated through One Tree Planted. And the Parks Department will be accepting and planting a combined 240 trees throughout the park system, including at Claro, Grant, Santa Teresa, and Hellier parks. And I learned from Rich Ramos this morning that as a result of this connection made by the Office of Sustainability, One Tree Planted would like to develop a long-term partnership with parks for the donation of additional trees, including an additional 120 large sycamore trees in county parks. And so finally, as a transition to Rebecca's presentation, county parks included information in the most recent annual sustainability report regarding the new countywide trails program, which Rebecca manages for the department, and she'll be providing that update to this group this morning. Rebecca.
Great, thank you, Kyle, for that overview. I'm going to share my screen. So you should be able to see the PowerPoint. Let me know if there are any issues. So good morning, everyone. As Tanya and Kyle mentioned, I'm Rebecca Coates-Maldoon. I manage the Parks Department's Countywide Trails program. And today I'm going to provide an overview of our work of the Countywide Trails program, which was created a little over a year ago to focus dedicated staff capacity on implementation of the county's Countywide Trails Master Plan. And before we get into the county's work on trails, I wanted to start with a quick question for you, which is, what is your favorite trail? So type your answers into chat. And as a bonus, you can type in your favorite use on that trail. So do you like hiking, bicycling, equestrian use, or another activity like bird watching or roller skating? There are so many trails to choose from. So I know you've been on at least one trail in this county or somewhere else in the world. Lexington Reservoir has lovely things around there. Oh, Sanborn, definitely one of my favorites. Another vote for Sanborn, really beautiful forested park if you haven't been there. Penitentia Creek is a great urban trail experience. Mount Madonna, yes, absolutely. Los Gatos Creek Trail, Mummy Mountain, maybe a couple others. That's another vote for Mount Madonna, which is really one of my favorite county parks if you haven't been down that way. Alviso, yes. So many different trail experiences in this county. And as you can see, As these answers keep coming in, there has been a lot of really wonderful work over the past decades to envision and build out amazing trails in Santa Clara County, as well as the Bay Area and many other communities more broadly. We have so many visionaries, organizations, advocates, staff, and officials at all levels of government, voters, and trail users to thank for creating and stewarding these trails that we all love as a public resource. And there is also a lot more work ahead to make true regional connectivity a reality in the county and elsewhere. Bay Trail, yes, I do love the Bay Trail. Trails, of course, have many benefits related to recreation, active transportation, public health, climate goals, economic investments, education, support for disadvantaged communities, and many others. And since we're here today to talk specifically about sustainability, here are just a few benefits of trails that are focused on sustainability. And please feel free to share other suggestions in chat that can also add to this list of benefits. So, everything from providing alternative transportation and commute corridor options, providing nearby recreation facilities that connect to regional parks and open space throughout the county, decreasing emissions by getting people out, onto bikes, walking places, creating green space and buffers, creating habitat linkages and climate resilience, driving opportunities for landscape level conservation and climate mitigation projects, and encouraging public stewardship of our resources and really increasing the perceived value and the ease of implementing sustainable actions, getting out there and making it easier to ride your bike, making it easier to walk places and be able to access the destinations that people really care about and to get out into these regional resources. So feel free to keep them coming, but I'm going to dive into a little bit about the county's vision for regional connectivity and the work of our Countywide Trails program. So the Countywide Trails Master Plan is an element of the Parks and Recreation section of the county's general plan, adopted by the Board of Supervisors in 1995. It envisions a comprehensive network of over 800 miles of regional, sub-regional, and connector trails across the county, both in incorporated and unincorporated areas. It includes many trails that you're likely familiar with, and some of the ones that were mentioned just a moment ago, such as the San Francisco Bay Trail, Bay Area Ridge Trail, Coyote Creek Trail, Stevens Creek Trail, Los Gatos Creek Trail, and many others. These routes include off-street trails, as well as on-street bicycle routes and on-street bicycle routes with parallel trails. And although responsibility for the actual construction and long-term management of each individual trail varies, the County Parks Department provides general oversight and coordination of this overall trails system. The Countywide Trails program specifically works to implement this Countywide Trails Master Plan, striving to advance equitable public access and sustainable trails that provide regional benefits related to outdoor recreation, public health, active transportation, climate goals, and all of the other benefits that we just talked about. So a few of our broad efforts include significant external collaboration, partnership building, and support throughout the county, engagement in external planning processes, input into and integration of internal efforts on countywide trail projects, from acquisition evaluations through planning, through trail construction of countywide trail segments that we build at the County Parks Department, as well as trail research and planning at multiple scales. These are just a few examples of our current collaborations and engagement. So we actively participate in a number of regional collaboratives and networks like the Bay Area Trails Collaborative, Santa Cruz Mountain Stewardship Network, San Francisco Bay Trail Board of Directors. I regularly coordinate with the cities and other partners throughout the county, such as the city of San Jose, which has a large network of planned and existing trails. The County Roads and Airports Department is currently developing an active transportation plan for the county, and we're part of the technical advisory committee for that, working to integrate those planning efforts with the countywide trails master plan. And I don't know if Ellen Talbot is on today, but I really hope that she can provide some more resources and share some about that active transportation plan effort at some point too, because we're really looking to make those partner efforts. So we're also part of a multi-jurisdiction effort led by Friends of Stevens Creek Trail to install trail signage along the Stevens Creek Trail corridor. And we provide input on countywide trails for large planning processes like the Open Space Authority's upcoming Coyote Valley Master Plan, as well as input on specific projects by external partners like Valley Water and throughout the county during development review processes. Share two quick examples of internal projects where we are coordinating with other county park units towards construction of countywide trail segments. The first is at Almond and Quicksilver County Park, where we're working towards construction of a short extension of an existing trail to provide safe neighborhood access to the trailhead at the Mockingbird Hill staging area, which would connect to existing on-street facilities and close a short gap in the Bay Area Ridge Trail and Juan Bautista de Anza National Historic Trail, ultimately connecting about 42 miles of existing countywide trails. We're also coordinating with the City of San Jose about potential on-street bike and pedestrian improvements in this area. The second example is at Sanborn County Park, where we're working with construction services to integrate a segment of the Juan Bautista de Anza National Historic Trail and Saratoga to the Skyline Trail into the detailed design and build out of the Sanborn Core Use Area project. Countywide Trails program conducts trail research and planning at multiple scales. For example, along with other parks programs, we work with open space agencies such as the Santa Clara Valley Habitat Agency, Open Space Authority, Peninsula Open Space Trust, Mid-Peninsula Regional Open Space District, and other partners to coordinate and plan for trails on specific properties. Here you see photos of some of the places where we're working with partners to integrate countywide trails planning on lands that will be enrolled in the Habitat Reserve System, such as Tilton Ranch near Morgan Hill and Pacheco Creek Reserve near Highway 152. The Countywide Trails program is also the core program working on big picture planning for the entirety of the Countywide Trails network. And in particular, I want to share some of our efforts related to Countywide Trails mapping and data. So the Countywide Trails Master Plan in 1995 established a planning level hard copy map with conceptual alignments for the proposed countywide trail routes, distinguishing route types and other considerations at a high level. And it also included some additional information about each route, including the general route location and intended trail uses, hiking, on or off-road bicycling, and equestrian uses. In 2015, county park staff undertook a comprehensive assessment of the status of the Countywide Trails Master Plan, which included extensive work to bring the Countywide Trails network into GIS, including working to translate that paper map and information into a GIS environment, as well as adding updated trail statuses and other information. And again, I want to note that the Countywide Trails Master Plan is a county-wide plan. So there's different agencies responsible for trails within their jurisdictions. And with so many different entities involved and cross-jurisdictional connectivity and coordination really key to success, GIS is an important tool that helps us track and analyze the full Countywide Trails network across the county. So one of our initial efforts in the Countywide Trails program, working closely with our GIS program, has been to reevaluate our GIS database and update our data to better support regional trails planning. The Countywide Trails network is a living network. Cities, open space entities, and other organizations are continually planning for and building out trail segments throughout the county. Conceptual trail alignments change when trails are built out based on on-the-ground feasibility, and new trails have been envisioned since 1995 that may serve a regional purpose. We worked to shift our GIS structure towards a model that better meets the goals that you see here. And again, the Countywide Trails GIS data is planning level, so it only shows conceptual and not parcel specific alignments for undeveloped trails, but it can help provide that broader picture view to inform decision-making and investments, including efforts across multiple jurisdictions. So following our GIS database restructure and update, we recently released the Countywide Trails dashboard, which is an interactive GIS tool our wonderful GIS staff built to help analyze and share our updated countywide trails data. It is publicly available and can be found on our website. And I'm also going to drop a link into chat so that you can just go directly there and play around with it while I give you a quick overview of what this looks like. So you should now see my screen with dashboard. And it's a great tool. I encourage you to take a look in more detail. There are 4 main parts to this dashboard. So in the lower left-hand corner, you'll see an information box that has information about the Countywide Trails Master Plan, as well as a variety of disclaimers and instructions to help you understand what this data includes and what it does not. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see the map, which is really the focal point here. You can see where countywide trails are planned or built in the county and can click on individual segments to view information in a pop-up. The solid lines represent trails that are developed and open to the public, and the dashed lines represent incomplete and conceptual trails. You can also maximize the map if you want to see it in a full screen. In the upper left-hand corner, there is a variety of charts showing different information about the trails that you have selected. So you can see the total mileage of the trails that you've selected. So right now, we're looking at about 883 miles sort of conceptually in the county that are part of this network. And you can see, the charts here related to the developed, what portion of that is developed. We have about 339 miles that are built and open to the public that serve these regional connectivity purposes. And as you click on these infographics, it will highlight in the map the piece that you're looking at. There's also information here about trail type. So you can see, what are the off-street trails, what are on-street bicycle routes or on-street bicycle routes with parallel trails. There's also information here about trail use. So the intended use as the trails were envisioned in the Countywide Trails Master Plan, and the majority of the trails are really envisioned to serve full multi-use purposes for hiking, bicycling, and equestrian. You can also see, what is the current use, the existing use out there on the ground right now, and then is there a use gap between what was envisioned and what is existing. And then in the bottom right-hand corner, there's a variety of filters, so you can narrow down the trails that you want to look at. So you can see, only developed trails, only undeveloped trails, off-street, on-street. There's a lot of different settings here. And you can also click over, if you want to look at a specific trail, there is a View a Trail tab. So you can go find your favorite trail, like Coyote Creek Trail, and then it will show you the statistics and the location and all of the information for that specific trail. So with that, I'm going to click back over to my PowerPoint for just a moment and say that coming up next, the Countywide Trails program is undertaking an update to the Countywide Trails Master Plan map, which will ultimately be considered for adoption by the Board of Supervisors through a public process. This update will be building on the structural work to our GIS database, and will focus on updating the Countywide Trails Master Plan map to reflect current planning for trails and staging. Other trails that have been envisioned since the plan was created in 1995, such as the Saratoga to Skyline Trail, Five Wounds Trail, Three Creeks Trail, and others, would also be evaluated for regional significance and potential formal inclusion in the Countywide Trails Master Plan as part of this process. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll also be working closely with roads and airports to coordinate efforts on the map update and the active transportation plan, because of course, trails and on-road facilities do not exist in isolation. So, as we move forward with our work in the county, we really want to be partnering closely with roads so that we have this integrated network and make sure that there really is that connectivity at all scales across the county. So with that, I'll close here. Please let me know if you have any questions.